Now we can talk about your kids. How do you keep them motivated? How to get them engaged in exercise and eating healthy?
Okay. So monkey see, monkey do. Your kids watch what their parents do. And they see my husband gets up, he's an early bird. He gets up and goes to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning, but they're asleep, so they don't really know, but they know dad's at the gym. And he's a huge rugby fan, used to play rugby in school and in college, and goes to all the international games. And if rugby's on, we know not to walk into the room unless you want to sit down and watch the game and be quiet beside him. So rugby and gym are really kind of his passion. And mine, I love to run. As I said, I've been a kind of a gym goer and squash and netball and all sorts of stuff down through the years, but I love running. I love getting out. I love the way I feel after a run. I feel energized. I feel just really healthy. I feel amazing after a run. So and you can, during lockdown as well, just going back to lockdown for a second, running. I've never seen so many people out running, on the streets, and it's amazing to see. So that's kind of my passion, but as well as obviously yoga and Pilates as well. But the kids, I suppose since day one, swimming was the first thing we got them to do when they were like 3, 4, 2 even. And then, football, rugby. My daughter is almost 17. She's 17 in March, and she's still, which I think is amazing, because a lot of girls, once they get to kind of that menstrual age, they give up and they fall out of sports. So she still plays Gaelic, and she plays football, and she plays camogie, which she's very passionate about. In fact, she had the whole Gaelic team around to my house last night. So
Hey Lisa,
hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Otto.
Could you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers?
Sure. So my name is Lisa. I am a personal trainer, a yoga instructor, and a Pilates instructor. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids, and I have a lovely husband. And yes, I've met Otto through work, so we're now sitting down chatting about life today.
Yeah, so we know each other from David Lloyd's club, and so we both teach classes here together. So I thought it would be really interesting person to talk about, especially Lisa is focused a lot on yoga, and you could tell us a little bit about your background and also how you came from the banking world to become a yoga instructor.
Okay, sure. So I suppose I grew up in Dublin, and my parents instilled in us always to play sports, and I was a member of a gym at quite a young age, actually Westwood, and I live quite close to there. So I played squash and went to the gym a lot, and my family did the same. And then I went to college. I left school, went to college. I studied economics and Spanish, and then I loved college and met loads of friends there that are still friends today. I also did a master's then in banking and finance in UCD. And I went on to the banking world. I've only had 2 jobs in the banking sector, absolutely loved them. I worked in a dealing room for 16 years at one of the major banks. And yes, I loved it. It was an amazing job. I got paid well. And I came to a different stage in my life then, 16 years later, where I was married and expecting my 3rd child. And I kind of took a look at life and just wanted to spend more time with my kids. And the opportunity came up within the bank. So I decided to leave, and I took a little bit of time off, had my 3rd daughter, my 3rd child. I have two girls and 1 boy. They're almost 17, almost 9, and 13. So it's busy, as you can imagine. So I took a bit of time off to spend with them. I felt I just needed to be around more the house, and the kids needed me. So a couple of years later, I went back and trained as a personal trainer, and then I went back to the finance world for a year and worked for a friend, and I went back then to study Pilates, and then I had the confidence, and my husband was behind me to actually move career, which is a huge, exciting jump for anyone, but it's quite scary at the same time, because obviously you have, bills to pay at the end of the day. But I had found something that I really, really loved, Pilates and personal training, and then I added on yoga as well. So I've worked for a couple of different people, and I now work for David Lloyd, and I also work in Torquay for complete personal training, which I love as well. So I'm very happy to say that I love my career. I did love the bank, but I needed more out of life. And now I balance my work with my kids. In fact, sometimes my kids don't even know that I work because they're at school or they're, studying away at school. And I'm always there to collect them. I'm there to drop them in the morning. And when I go to work in the evening, my husband is home anyway. So they just, know I go out for a few hours and that's it. But yes, I love yoga. I love Pilates, and I do the odd bit of PT as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a boring life at all.
No, I feel blessed to really love my job, and it's a passion. It's not work to me, to be honest. It's a passion.
Yeah, I look at it this same way. Yeah. And why did you choose yoga?
I just wanted to further my understanding of, movement, and yoga's. I had always kind of watched yoga or seen people do yoga and never really practiced it. And I just decided to dive straight in. And it's not that I practiced yoga for 10 years. I went to a class, and I spoke to the instructor afterwards, and I said, do you think I could do the training with you? And she said, absolutely. You move well on the mat. You've no problems. You're strong. You're flexible. So yes, and I've been teaching yoga for probably 3 years now. Yoga's an amazing practice. I'd encourage anyone to take it up. It's a beautiful way to move, to open your body, to stretch your body, to become more flexible, to be stronger on the physical side, and also on the mind side. There's a connection, a mind-body connection in yoga, and it helps you think about life outside your yoga mat, and to stop and to be calm and to reassess and reset. And it just changes kind of the perspective of things. We get caught up in a wheel, just day to day, and in yoga, we have a chance to reflect and to look at things differently as we move on our mat. And I always encourage anyone that comes to practice with me to practice what you practice on the mat, you take home with you as well into your life. For example, breathing in yoga is a huge part, and it keeps us calm when we feel a little bit stressed. So not only do you breathe deeply on the mat and you stay nice and calm, but bring that into any time you feel a little bit stressed in your life. And anyone that comes to my classes will know that I say that in every single class to them. So yoga is kind of, it's not just a movement in the mat for 45 minutes or an hour, whatever it is. It's you bring it into your life afterwards.
Yeah, I love yoga myself. Actually, I would add to this.
You have to come to my class sometime.
I definitely have to. Yeah. I heard you're good.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, humble. So I actually, funny enough, how I started with yoga was I came to Ireland 17 years ago, almost precisely, and I got lots of back pain. So maybe half a year later, I was like really desperate to solve my back pain. Mm-hmm. And I just was passing the Easons, and I bought a yoga Bible. And then I just open up the yoga Bible and pick 2 exercises.
Yeah.
One of them was like when you're lying down on your back, you flip your legs over your back.
Okay. Wow.
And that really, really triggered my lower back, and I felt like I should be doing it.
Yeah.
And in 2 months, the pain was just gone.
Wow, that's it. That's incredible. And
another one, headstand, and I was just able to do it straight ahead. So I felt like actually it feels good. I never done yoga, but that 17 years ago, it really kickstarted me believing that yoga is really, really good for, making sure you don't get aches and pains in your body.
Yes, it is, absolutely. And there's so many different beautiful poses that you can do. There's so many lovely poses that will open and stretch your hips. And for me, I suppose, coming from an office background, I'm always very mindful of people that sit at their desk for long periods of time, because I I've never had any major injuries, but I remember a little bit of back and shoulder pain, kind of just from sitting at my desk for a couple of hours on the phone,
Typing.
bad posture and things like that. So I always focus on posture, on opening up the front body, and doing a lot of kind of hard opening poses. So that basically just brings back everything, all the roundness and the bad posture that a lot of us have from looking at iPads and screens throughout the day. And I would always kind of focus on hip openings in my class as well, because a lot of us would be seated for prolonged periods at your desk. So obviously those muscles get really, really tight. So a lot of my classes I would focus on hip opening and that. But yeah, there's some amazing postures like the inversions, the forearm stands and the handstands. And once accomplished, and unlike Oto here, you don't just flip up into it. Most of us, it takes a lot of time to practice, and practice does make perfect eventually. So I would encourage anyone that's and a lot of people have said it to me in class, I really want to do arm balances. I really want to do those, those crazy poses that you see on Instagram. But practice and good alignment and patience, and you need to build a little bit of strength and prep, and positive thinking can get you into those poses eventually. So just find yourself a good teacher, and be careful and always practice those kind of poses against a wall in case you go a little bit further than you expect to go in them. That's my favorite. Some of my favorite movements in yoga would be. Absolutely love Surya Namaskar, the sun salutations, and I always bring them into my classes. They're just amazing to get heat and energy into your body, and to open and stretch and prepare you for bigger movements on your mat. And then I suppose there's a beautiful restorative pose which I open a lot of my classes in, which is supported Supta Baddha Konasana. So it's a hip opener, harsh opener, and it's just gorgeous. Try that, guys. You should look it up. And then the forearm stance is the fancy stuff, and
You mean the forearm stance? It's like they call it cobra when you flip the legs over, like kind of arch them arch the back
that's
a little bit.
Wheel maybe. Wheel is it?
Yeah.
I suppose the forearm stance is pincha. Pincha would be kind of one of the major.
Like the one you go on the headstand from here, you create a base like this, and you go on your head, and then you open up, and you flip the legs over that your feet are over your head.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. And it's anytime you invert, you really re-energize your nervous system. So it's amazing. It's amazing for that. And balance poses are really cool as well, because there's nothing else you can think of but where you are at that present moment and just balancing and managing on that one leg. So it just kind of brings you really into the moment and builds focus and concentration. So I could talk about yoga for forever. But Pilates is amazing too. And a lot of people
mix it in?
Not really, only if it's a fusion class, of course. And we give a lot of fusion classes here in Pilates and yoga in David Lloyd.
Do they mix the Tai Chi into it as well, a little flow with the breath as well?
Yes,
like body balance?
Absolutely.
Because I'm body balance teacher for last 9, almost 10 years. So I know how it all blends together.
Yeah.
And that warm up of kind of like lift and drop,
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with principles of yoga anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's the breath and movement.
Absolutely. All my yoga classes would include breath work, whether it's equal inhale, equal exhale, 4-7-8 breath, whether it's breath of fire or just 3-dimensional breath is a Pilates and a yoga breath. Loads of different types of breathing, alternate nostril breathing. There's so many types. You can look them up.
But you can talk about it a little bit more and maybe tell some of the benefits from breathing a certain way. What's the physiology changes, what's behind it?
Well, breathing deeply, a lot of us shallow breathe into our shoulders and neck area. And that's just because we're tense. And we don't breathe deeply, because we're not really conscious of our breath. We take it as granted in and out. So we kind of breathe shallow, and that can create a lot of tension around the neck and shoulder area. So when we breathe deeply, deep into the belly, we create that calmness in the body. So deep breathing has been proved to allow us to access part of the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, that it's part of the nervous system that we can actually control. So when we feel a little stressed, if you reach towards your deep breath, I just always say to people in my class, just stop and pause and take some deep breaths. It really helps you to think clearer and just be calm. And a lot of us are stressed, and there's not a lot we can do about it, but your deep breathing can help you make clearer decisions when you are stressed. And I do that in class, and I say to people, bring it off the mat. So a lot of people have come back to me and said, well, I used my deep breathing there, the other day when something happened. And that's amazing that you can bring something off the mat into your life. That, like, as I said, yoga has like life lessons as well. In terms of the breath, as I said, there's so many different types. And I try to do that in class as well and just make it a little more interesting. And also a lot of the breathing techniques would help to improve your respiratory and lung efficiency as well. So it's all really, really good for that. But just coming back to the Pilates, a lot of people think that Pilates and yoga are very similar, and there is some similar postures. But with anyone with kind of spine, weakness, I would say definitely try Pilates. Get down on a mat, go to Pilates class, do your back extensions, and work on your spine strength, and obviously just get it from the front as well, and work on your core strength. And a good few people have come back to me and said, well, I've been doing your classes and I've been pain free for 10 months or whatever. And then if you stop, it may come back, but that a Pilates class would generally really work for, stretching. If you wake up and you've done something, you've pulled something, and people say to me they feel much better after a class. And I had a guy there recently in the club actually said to me that he runs marathons and he did a way better time. He got about 10 or 15 minutes off his marathon time, and he was so happy, and he puts it down to his Pilates class. So it's and then another lady once said to me, it's the part of the week that she looks forward to the most. So that's part of why I love my job, that people say these things to you, and it's just makes everything worthwhile, for me. So that's, I'd advise everyone to try it, to try yoga, to try Pilates, and just to see what it can do for your body. It's just getting movement into your body, and maybe movement that you don't get on a day-to-day basis. So we walk and, we flexion extension, but you can, in a class, you'll move your hip laterally or you'll rotate, and, you may not get that movement into your body on a daily basis, but you certainly do in a class. So it's just, so we don't all seize up when we get old. I'm hitting a big number this year. I won't tell you which. I'm sure you can guess, but you just got to keep moving.
Yes. I always say that to people, that lateral strength, it's so lacking in everyday people's lives, because how many times you do these lateral movements?
Not often, yes.
Zero.
Yeah.
So that also comes through spinal protection from your side walls, your obliques.
Yes.
And then also your abductors, the glute minimus and medius. So we have the weakness in the hips, in the back, and then eventually the arches start to fall, because that abductor complex, the outer hip muscles, are also responsible for pushing that knee out and lifting the arch. So eventually that deterioration of our lateral strength from the hip eventually start caving knees in and having that
connected.
wobble in. Like you can see it actually if you walk on the stairs. And observe your knee when you're walking the stairs.
Yes.
Does it stay straight or does it wobble in and out?
Yeah. And a lot of people I can see from classes, sometimes our bodies internally rotate, and, we might not be aware of it. And then it starts from the feet up as well. The feet turn in, the knees turn in, the hips turn in, and then we've like huge tightness around the hips and stuff. So yoga would open that, and the foot alignment is really important on the mat. So, I always would cue people to look down at their foot, and then suddenly they notice it's turning in, and then they turn it out. They go, wow, that's a great opener on my hip, and my knee is inwards, and you turn the knee out. And even just putting a little finger inside their knee, we can't touch at the moment due to COVID, obviously, but just putting a finger in the inside of the knee, they'll just roll it out, and suddenly they've a huge opening on their hip that they haven't felt in a long time. So yes, absolutely, Otto, 100%. And it's all connected. And, in classes, yoga and Pilates classes, you work everything. You work your glutes, you work your core, you work your obliques, your adductors. The fitness circle's great for that in Pilates class. Always try and bring that in as well. And that fires up pelvic floor, which a lot of women need to strengthen up after multiple pregnancies and childbirth. And so give a class a go if you haven't already. And that goes for men as well. Men need it as much as women do, sometimes even more. And it's great to see a lot of males in the class. Sometimes it can be a little intimidating if you walk into a class and there's 12 or 15 women, but I would say absolutely don't let that put you off. And now sometimes, the classes would be half and half, definitely. So it's great to see a lot of guys who would be tight suddenly, noticing they need to come to do yoga, or they need to strengthen their spine because they've lifted too much weight, and, they need to strengthen their core. So I would advise, everyone. I've also done it for my daughter's Gaelic team during lockdown. We did a Zoom yoga class and got them moving and got them stretching. And it's good for, obviously anyone that plays sports. It's an amazing warm up. My kids are big into sports, and that's because we've driven that since we had them. So we've a huge variation of sports in our family. Yeah, and my son he was doing rugby trials there a couple of months back, and he injured himself because he's just been swimming all summer, in the Irish Sea, and the first day back they did rugby trials, and the kids obviously were a bit tight, and he pulled a hip flexor, but I was able to show him how to stretch out, and he got it back pretty quick, and he was back to his rugby a couple of days later. But it just shows you how easily you can pull muscles and things like that. So just stretching is just so important for your body. Yeah. Depending on what movement you're doing, what sport you're doing, stretching is vital. So yeah.
Yeah, at the time of the lockdowns, especially for school kids, also all of their activities in school finished.
Yeah.
All the
Very
outside
tough.
of the school activities finished too.
Yeah.
So I had few parents ask me if I would train their kids those lockdowns, and we found a park which was like 5 kilometers from me, 5 kilometers from there. We met in the middle ground, and I trained a couple of neighbors actually. There was 2 boys and then there was 3 sisters.
Okay.
And I was training them all in the same time in the park, and it was really nice because they had no other activities.
Yeah.
So at least they were way ahead of their peers from their training point of view.
Yeah.
So I think they were really appreciating the fact that they had a quite comprehensive strength conditioning with flexibility as well. Mm-hmm. But now we can talk about your kids. How do you keep them motivated? How to get them engaged in exercise and eating healthy?
Okay. So monkey see, monkey do. Your kids watch what their parents do. And they see my husband gets up, he's an early bird. He gets up and goes to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning, but they're asleep, so they don't really know, but they know dad's at the gym. And he's a huge rugby fan, used to play rugby in school and in college, and goes to all the international games. And if rugby's on, we know not to walk into the room unless you want to sit down and watch the game and be quiet beside him. So rugby and gym are really kind of his passion. And mine, I love to run. As I said, I've been kind of a gym goer and squash and netball and all sorts of stuff down through the years, but I love running. I love getting out. I love the way I feel after a run. I feel energized. I feel just really healthy. I feel amazing after a run. So and you can, during lockdown as well, just going back to lockdown for a second, running. I've never seen so many people out running, on the streets, and it's amazing to see. So that's kind of my passion, but as well as obviously what, yoga and Pilates as well. But the kids, I suppose since day one, swimming was the first thing we got them to do when they were like 3, 4, 2 even. And then, football, rugby. My daughter is almost 17. She's 17 in March, and she's still, which I think is amazing, because a lot of girls, once they get to kind of that menstrual age, they give up and they fall out of sports. So she still plays Gaelic, and she plays football, and she plays camogie, which she's very passionate about. In fact, she had the whole Gaelic team around to my house last night. So anyway, so the girls are amazing, and they're an amazing team, and that's hers. And she plays hockey in school as well, and she runs with me. We did a 10K we did the Great Scottish Run a while back before COVID in Scotland. We travelled to Glasgow, where my dad is from, and we did the Great Scottish Run with my uncle and some cousins as well. So I trained her for that, and we ran together, which was amazing. My son plays rugby and he plays football. And I think every day over last summer, he got on the bus and went to Dunleary and swam with his friends in the Irish Sea or in Killiney or wherever. They'd just go from one place to the next and swim. So, and then my youngest daughter is 8 and she's almost 9, and she loves life. This morning she's already had a tennis lesson. She's got dance and drama this afternoon. She's hockey tomorrow. She has gymnastics. She has football. I'm sure there's a few other things in there, but yeah, look, it's just keep them moving, keep them active. It keeps them out of mischief. Keeps them out of your hair. There's a lot of lifts involved, dropping and collecting, and sometimes you do think that your weekend is just taxi driver but they're your kids, and we do 100% for them, it's great to see them love their sports, and it's an effort. You have to put it in as a parent, and it's very rewarding to see them get that goal, get that try, win that match, and then as parents, we're on the sidelines as much as we can. We're in and out of the car and whatever, and working at the same time. So yeah, but you do it for your kids because you just love them, I guess. So yeah, it's just, I suppose, lead by example. They don't see us sitting down that often, they see us on the move, and we're busy, and we're exercising all the time. So they just want to be like mom and be like dad, I suppose, and just that's the way of life, and that's the way they've been brought up, and they don't know any different.
Yeah, Christina on my last podcast said nobody gets excited from watching TV for 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unhealthy.
It is really good to balance it out.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are times we like watching movies or playing games.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also grew up, like my generation, I'm 82, and if you want to watch something, it would have to be on a program this is gonna be watched.
Yeah.
It is gonna be playing on TV. Those
Absolutely.
pre-CD movies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It came eventually when I was 15, but not when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So we knew that, okay, if you want to watch something, it's gonna be at 8 p.m. or it's gonna be at 6 p.m. and you're gonna be okay, I want to be there. But in the meantime, we were always out.
Yeah.
Meeting with the neighborhood kids and playing football and
Same
cycling around.
Yeah.
We were super active.
Yeah. And we're lucky enough to live in a kind of a small village, and the doorbell never stops as well. So it's they really kind of they have a similar childhood to what I had. It was literally we came back to be fed in the evening, and that was it. So the kids are out a lot. The doorbell's always ringing. They're out playing with their friends as well, and that's great. That's great to see.
You remember the time when the moms used to shout out of windows, "Come home!"
Yeah,
pre-smartphone era, pre-phone era.
Yeah, I know. My kids think I'm like ancient. We, in the olden days, Mom, I'm not that old.
Olden days.
And, even things like when they're doing their homework, it's like, we didn't have the internet when we were doing your homework. You had to look up a book, to find the answer, and you had to look up many books to find the answers. And it's just so easy for them now to go on to Google and Google. There's no Google Translate in those days. You had to just go and look up a dictionary.
Yeah, I mean, it's extension of our human self, that technology. I mean, it saves you so much time. You get the information, so it means education can be on the next level if you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how do you make them eat healthy, your kids?
Yeah, so how do we, if it's not in the house, you won't eat it. It's my rule. So it starts in the supermarket. I'm careful about what I choose in the supermarket. Obviously, there's little treats and all sorts, and there's chocolate and there's crisps and whatever. But once it's gone, it's gone. I do the shop once a week, and I say to the kids, if it's gone, it's gone. I'm not going to the shop to buy more. Here's your ice cream. Now, I'm a big fan of ice cream. That's my weakness. So I even, I run back last minute and say, I forgot ice cream. I can't come home without ice cream. So yes, if it starts in the supermarket. There's so much fruit, so much vegetables, that it would take up kind of a lot of space. Very little processed foods. We wouldn't really eat. My husband cooks most nights of the week. He's a great cook. He cooks curries and kormas from scratch and stir fries, and so we don't really eat takeout. Obviously, the kids get McDonald's every now and again, and that's okay. Or a
little treat
chipper
for them.
chips, out of a brown paper bag. Tastes amazing, but that is definitely not the norm. That would be, they've home cooked meals. not really any junk. A lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables. Smoothies are a great way to encourage your kids to eat fruit. They love them. They love the fact that they can use the NutriBullet on their own and add some juice and try out different things. Maybe even sneak a few vegetables in there as well. But exercise and healthy eating is so important for children, and if if the kids, they eat something and I say, well, you have to have something, you can have it after you eat something healthy, or I will kind of say to them, I probably shouldn't, but I do say to them, now you do know that's not healthy, and go, yeah, I know mom, but I'm going to have an apple next or something like that, so it's just I suppose bringing that awareness to what's good, what's not. And the girls like a lot more junk than my boy. My boy just does, he won't put anything bad into his mouth. The bar ice cream, which is good for you. There's protein in it anyway. But yeah, I'm very conscious, I suppose, of your carbohydrates, your carbohydrates, your proteins, your good fats. We eat a lot of avocados. That smashed avocado with an egg on top is beautiful,
Nice.
And some sourdough. And a big fan of that. My daughter would eat that with me.
For breakfast,
she makes it. Yeah, that would be maybe a lunch or whatever.
Even, yeah. Fats, proteins, carbohydrates, and you won't be hungry for 4 hours easily.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And my favorite breakfast actually is pancakes, banana pancakes. So easy if anyone's looking for a nice breakfast out there. You can put cinnamon on it as well, but a banana and 2 eggs and just fry it up in some coconut oil, and that's pretty much what I have for breakfast most days. I love it. And as I said, we are meat eaters, so we'd eat steak or a lot of chicken, stir fries, coconut kind of curries, things like that. But there's a health consciousness in the house, and that goes with exercise as well. So you can exercise, I suppose, and Oto, you'll back me up on this one. You can exercise all you want, but if you don't really look at your food, you're not really going to see results in your body. You need to look at the food. Food is very, very important. And I would also always say to people, if I'm personal training like Oto, I'd ask them to do a food diary and just say, look, what you pretty much spot quickly what are the kind of the bad spots there, what you probably should cut out, the sugary things, obviously, and it's good to have a treat, but you don't have them every day.
Yeah, same here. I mean, addictive personality, and once you get a taste of something sweet, sometimes I don't feel like finishing until I finish the whole package, which is really not good. And if I let myself down a little bit longer, I already feel not feeling good. And so I know I have to be disciplined myself for myself. Yeah, because I know the trap of not eating healthy. So there being times when I wasn't eating well and really paid for it. So, I'm even more cautious of sugar addiction. I was sugar addicted for 25 years.
Really?
I never put on weight, but I had really inflamed skin. So obviously it was sort of like internal process of inflammation.
Yes.
And the gut flora is really closely connected with your skin. So if you have eczema and you're eating sugar, so that will be your first thing, because you increase acidity in your stomach, in your digestive flora. And then your good bacteria are on decline, and the bad ones, the yeast, they are on the rise, and eventually that can cause you bad digestion, bad immune system, allergic reaction, which is autoimmune diseases are you reacting to your own self.
Absolutely.
So that's what I learned, that I have to really control my sugar. Yeah. But I still need carbohydrates. So, having, fruit here and there, and some sort of buckwheat, quinoa, even pasta, even bread. I like bread, but there are a few things I always try to improve and limit. So let's say eating too much bread or eating too much dairy product. Yeah. Those kind of things, and eating more vegetables, eating more lean meat. Yeah. And just every so often having good goal at, let's say, what can I improve now going on? Because, it's, you're not going to have 100% commitment and motivation the whole time. There'll be ups and downs, and you might drift away. Life gets tough, and, you might be not prepared. Yeah. You're not going to eat your optimal meals. And that's why it helps when you have a whole kind of routine in your family.
Yeah, preparation is absolutely key as well. So just plan what you're going to buy in the supermarket, and then prep your meals is important, because if you're starving and you go to the fridge and, there's nothing in the house. You're going to take a bad choice and just take something that will satisfy you at that moment. For me, the main thing is don't beat yourself up if you have, a bad day on food. Just put it behind you and move on. And, every day is a fresh day. And just, if you're struggling with your food, just put it behind you and, make good choices the next day and just, get rid of the guilt.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah. That doesn't help, that emotional torture.
Yeah. And emotional eating is very normal for some people as well. And just find something when, you need that, when you're feeling that you need to eat something sugary, maybe a replacement. Just think about something, a little treat for yourself. Maybe that doesn't involve food, or, I don't know, go and put a face mask on, or go out for a run, or
go for a run.
Listen to a podcast, listen to Oto.
I thought you were going to say go for a run. Of course, she did say that. Now, going through the COVID, hopefully the last phase of it, and we're going to be out of it. It's 2 years and a few months. Do you think we learned something as a society, which we were bombarded with how many people died, how many people are in hospitals? Do we actually realize as a society that the health was and always will be the main sort of foundation for any of these, in the future coming up pandemics? Do you think we learned something?
It depends. I think that people's mental health probably suffered a lot during COVID, and a lot of people maybe took a look at their mental health and, improved in terms of, exercising, getting out there, walking every day, running, walking the dog, spending more time with your family. There was a lot of benefits of the lockdown, really good quality time with your kids, with your family at home. Obviously, there was people, people came out of it the other side and, can't live with someone. And, I was talking to someone there recently, and there's been an unprecedented amount of separations as well. So, people's mental health, I think, has been challenged hugely throughout COVID. And it's, I suppose, people have dealt with that in different ways. Okay.
And I will have one question for you.
Sure.
So what is your life philosophy?
You only get one life. That's an easy question for me. You get one life, live it, enjoy it. It's short. Be kind to everyone. Just live life to the full. Don't, I suppose, look at what you have. Be grateful. Don't assume you have so much time ahead of you that I've seen a lot of people over COVID, here one day, gone the next. We lost some family during COVID as well. I lost my niece and my father-in-law. So I just live life as it is. Be happy. Be good. I'm a big believer in if you're good, you'll get good things back. And just let go of the past and embrace the future,
And where can our listeners find you? Are you on social media?
I'm on Instagram. I'm not a huge Instagrammer. I put up some yoga and Pilates poses, but I need to get better at that. I need to put some videos up, and I need someone to manage my Instagram. Get me a few more followers. Look, I teach in David Lloyd. You can catch me anytime. If you want to message me on Instagram, please do. If you want there's lots of kind of yoga poses up there. And I always say what they're good for in Pilates, stretches spine, strengthens upper back, opens hips. You can message me on Instagram, or you can find me in a class in David Lloyd.
So what's your name there on Instagram?
So Lisa Vaughan. Lisa Vaughan.
That's a Vaughan.
Yeah, Lisa.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. So thank you, Oto, for giving me the opportunity to chat with you today. And
it was my pleasure. Have a good day.
Okay. Thank you.